Bonjour.
Hey,
What's up?
bonjour.
Bonjour.
How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thank you for having me.
Yes, yes. The last time we saw each other was in a subway in Paris.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. Actually, I'm French, living in Canada, Montreal. So yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, I'm happy to be with you to talk about one of my favorite subjects, which is data engineering, and especially leadership as a IC,
Mm,
individual contributor in data engineering. So yeah, I have a lot of things to share and talk about that.
that's gonna be awesome. To kick things off for people who don't know who you are, do you want to give a quick intro?
Yeah, I do a lot of things on the internet, mostly in French because I'm French and my audience is
Sweet.
from francophone side. But I'm a content creator on YouTube, so I explain a lot of things on YouTube about data engineering, and also I'm a data engineer consultant. So I'm living Canada, Montreal. So I would say my customer is mostly in Canada. So it's mostly that. Yeah.
Hmm. Nice. And how long have you been in the data world for?
Oh, more than I would say 10 years now.
Nice.
Actually, I started my career in France on technology such as SQL Server and so on. And then I moved to Canada, Montreal, and I had the opportunity to work in video game on very big video games such as Assassin's Creed, mostly Ubisoft game.
Okay.
I'm a big gamer. I love video game. I play a lot, and
Nice.
I did analytics on video game, and now I have I would say my own company where I would say I help people to use data. And currently, my client, this is funny because this is not a small client, but this is about public transportation. So in public transportation in Montreal, there is a company who organized transportation in Montreal, and I helped this company to deal with data, I would say.
That's cool.
So yeah,
Quick side question. What's your favorite game console?
game console, I would say Dreamcast.
Nice.
Yeah, with Japanese games such as Jet Set Radio. I'm a big Japanese fan, so mostly video game from Japan, I would say. So that's
That's
why I
cool.
love Sega and
Yeah.
Dreamcast. Yeah, and you?
Um, I used to be an Xbox guy. I got a PlayStation 5
Okay,
recently.
cool.
So
Yeah,
yeah, my kids use it a lot. I kind of got it for myself,
yeah.
but I got it for them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to GTA 6 hopefully coming out this year.
me too.
So
I'm looking
yeah,
forward to playing this game. That's going to be huge.
it's gonna be huge. It just looks hilarious. I'd be interested in the analytics in terms of like how much people get done.
Yeah,
Pretty much any age group, frankly.
yeah,
Once that game comes out, it'll be pretty interesting. GDP will decline. We'll be in
yeah,
recession.
for sure. Yeah,
So, well, that's awesome. Yeah, walk me through the sense data engineering and leadership. What's in your mind with?
yeah. It's because when I would say since I would say many years, help people to use data, and sometimes as a senior or lead, because sometimes I'm a senior for a team or a lead for a team, have some blocking. Like, for example, people don't understand the the main goal of data engineering because it's not that hype. If we compare with AI, people are more focused on AI stuff. We want to have LLM and so on, and sometimes they forget, I would say, data, and the main aspect of AI is data. So it's mostly that. So I fight against that in teams because I like to build, I would say, easy things to transform data and share data in the company. But sometimes people have to understand my job, and this is complex sometimes. So yeah,
What's complex about it?
it's complex because when you have, I would say, a leadership aspect, it's kind if it's like you need to deal with many things We need to balance between many things, such as bring value in terms of business, but also deal with micro things in terms of technical aspects, such as I want to transform things with Databricks, but this feature doesn't work. So how to deal with that? And
Mm.
sometimes I would say business people to business don't give a fuck about technical things.
No, they
So
don't.
as a senior, it's like, okay, I have to do my job, but the tool doesn't work. So how can I provide what I have to provide as fast as possible? So this is why this is complex as a senior or as a lead to be a leader, I would say. So yeah, so it's mostly that.
Well, and the challenge is that leaders, especially when you rise from senior, which is sort of the line, I think, when you can either become like staff engineer or principal engineer as an IC and keep going that route, or you become, you go into leadership, you go into management, you go
Yeah,
into that route. And I'd love your take on this, but what I've seen is I don't feel like people who have made that transition into leadership, especially early on, that they get the training, that they get the support they need. I think there's
exactly.
this assumption like you're really good at building pipelines in Databricks. So obviously you're going to be an awesome, awesome manager. So
Yeah,
Willis, go ahead and lead these people. We suggest that you probably don't code as much anymore because that's supposedly not what a manager is supposed to do anymore.
exactly.
Right. And so that this is, but then we're not going to provide you any training.
Yeah,
If you want to find something else, I guess go look online that maybe you'll find something. I don't know. Good luck.
mm,
Have a nice day.
yeah.
Your performance review is in 6 months, by the way.
It's true. So you have to provide the value as fast as possible, less than 6 months to be on the track.
How do you deal with that?
How? It's tough because for it's depend. If in some company when I have to, I would say, implement pretty new features such as doing streaming, so near real time with an analytic tool, I know that streaming tools is not enough mature in the data engineering side. So I'm going to set boundary. I'm going to say to my manager or to my clients that it's not going to be tough to achieve this result. But so that this is in the case or we have to do to create a very specific things. But this is for create a pretty basic ETL in batch that's going to be easier to provide, I would say, a really fast value because the path is pretty clear. And with tools such as Databricks, AWS, and so on, it's pretty basic. So it's mostly that. It depends the need. And in analytic, because I did a lot of streaming back then, few months ago, and it was tough because actually, to be honest, as a data engineer, we are not enough mature to do streaming in analytic.
Mm,
It's pretty tough. Like we have to deal with very specific things such as stateful, if and stuff like that. In analytic side, it's not ready for the moment, and it was a mess for to do as a data engineer. But
mm,
in order to create a basic ETL, it's not a big deal. So it's dependent on the need, I would say.
yeah. How do you deal with this? Like jump around in a few between
Yeah,
manager and individual contributor, but say that you become manager
yeah.
and you had a few other people in your team who are maybe up for that position as well.
Hmm.
How do you handle that? How do you handle maybe the feeling that other people might inevitably have towards you getting the job and they didn't get it?
I think as a manager, I'm going to provide training and do a lot of analysis and research because actually, the in general, what I've noticed is that people are afraid to commit when they don't know. So I have to provide the training and train people. Start with a small POC, proof of concept, and then I would say share knowledge across the company to be sure that that will be possible to do the job to commit on a specific job, for example, on streaming. So, for example, for a streaming use case, a few months, few years ago, when I did this when I was with my client, the most difficult thing is, for example, on Databricks, it wasn't possible to do analytic computation in streaming. So the main thing it should be to create a POC, like a small project, and test as much as possible if exactly this is possible to do the job. And if it's not possible, just forget for the moment and just wait another technology, maybe Flick and more mature technology to achieve this job, I would say. Not just jump on the trend and test, because I think back then it was the case on this project.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, sorry. My question was more about how do you deal with the team members
The
who,
team member,
yeah, may have been up for promotion for the manager job, and they didn't get the job, but you got the
no,
job, and now you're their boss. How do you handle that? Yeah.
okay, it's a good question. It's a good question. So I still I would say the opportunity. If I understood your question,
Say again.
I don't get exactly your question.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, yeah. Sorry for the audience. It might be a bit lost in translation with some of these, but the question is: say that you're the manager, and you were an IC with several
Yeah,
other people,
yeah,
and they all wanted the job, and now you
yeah,
get the job, and now you're their
yeah.
boss. How do you deal with that?
Actually, it's a good question. So I would say it depends. If my team member was friends, I would say it should be it should be all right. I don't know. It should be all right. I don't know. I would say I never asked me this kind of question, but yeah, that is a good question. Actually, I don't know. I don't have this answer.
Interesting problem, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen it work different ways.
yeah,
Usually people are, supportive and congratulate you and so forth.
yeah.
Sometimes there's probably some resentment
Mm,
about it, and that needs to be dealt with in probably gentle ways at first. So
mm,
it's hard. Yeah, it is hard because you don't want to set the tone that you're, sort of a totalitarian coming in and saying,
mm.
"Well, I'm the boss. You work for me. Have a nice day."
Yeah, but yeah, actually, when I worked at Ubisoft, I had this case when one of my colleagues became lead. Honestly, I was happy for him. Like for me, it was a good news because it was of my friend. So he was in charge to push my ideas. So for me, it was a good news. If I have a good relationship with my teammates, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
I would say if I have a bad relationship with my teammates, this is another thing.
yeah,
Uh, it can be tough, yeah, because if this is my lead, this is I would say, direct report. So I have to share my mood and my blocking and so on with him. If I don't have safe space with him, that's good. That can be tough. That can be tough. But I don't know how to deal with that,
yeah.
to be honest.
It's hard. Sorry, there's like a bunch of F-35s flying overhead right now. They're really loud. The big fighter jets. They always fly over my house for whatever reason, like probably every couple of weeks. They're they're very loud. Anyway, probably can't hear it. Yeah, that's interesting. And then I don't know, what else about data engineering lead? Is there anything particularly unique about data engineering leadership as opposed to other types of engineering leadership?
Yeah, I think, for example, for software engineer leadership, the path is clearer, like a pretty common software engineer is, I would say, old and well defined, which is not the case for data engineer. It's not new, but more recent. So we need, as I would say, as a IC leader, I need to fight guess against some bad idea coming from software engineer. For example,
Mm,
having 2 week sprints can be too short. So we have to redefine how to organize a project in sprint or in Kanban, for example. But this is pretty different when on a data engineer side when I compare with software engineer side. So it's that I would say.
Why would 2 week sprints be too short for you?
For me, it's like, to be honest, it's difficult to provide meaningful value in 2 weeks when you build, for example, an ETL. Like, I don't know, you take a source, you do your transformation, so you code, you do your unit test, you sometimes do have to modify the CI/CD, and do your data quality check, and so on. So for me, that in 2 weeks can be short, especially for complex subjects. What I've noticed so far in my career, it's sometimes that doesn't fit totally on 2 weeks, maybe in 3 weeks, maybe in Kanban, it's better. And I have noticed also that developers, so I see that engineers are too focused on deliver the code because we have only 2 weeks to deliver this code. So it's like hot potatoes, like, I have my code, puff, I drop in production. And we have the issue in production. And after we have to deal with this issue in production. And this is a mess. Few months, few years ago, at this situation where we need to provide too many things at the same time. We didn't have enough time to deal with, I don't know, the issue in production, and it was a mess. So that's why I'm fighting against this kind of 2 weeks sprint, I would say. So yeah.
Interesting. I've been thinking a lot about this too. I've been writing about how the 2 week sprint for one, I'd love to know where the 2 week number came from actually. But regardless, I think you are pointing at something that I think is data work is different in the sense where there's maybe some extra complexities with the data that you don't necessarily have to think about when you're delivering features in a sprint. And so that's, I think, one of the big complications, like in the context of data modeling, for example. I've been thinking about that. Like, if you have a 2 week sprint to model something, does it matter really? Or would it be better to have a week and a half or 2.5 or 3 weeks or a month or nothing? I don't know. So it's like, because you're compressing thinking time, kind of the nuances of data into these artificial time buckets. And so I'm like, well, it's convenient for the engineering cycle and it's convenient for a release cycle. But especially if these pipelines that you're making aren't necessarily part of the application, why do we work in the same cadence?
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know.
Yeah,
it depends on the company, obviously, but yeah.
Especially for the data modeling aspect, because like you said, the thinking part of data modeling, I would say, take a lot of time. So we have to design, test, check if the data pipeline works well with the data model and so on. So it's a lot of testing, failure. That's why for me, 2 weeks sprint, it's not, I would say, not relevant anymore for the engineer.
Yeah, I'm just looking at it. So according to Google, according to the AI overview, which I don't have time to dig into these, 2 week sprints originates from the agile methodology, specifically the Scrum framework. And so I guess I need to go back and rationale behind it and whatnot. But I guess it gives you enough time to get things done, but not enough time to overthink it. You can get feedback, all that kind of stuff. And I suppose, it's a convenient measure. But I think it's become like a lot of things with agile. Things have become, I'm not sure if the term cargo cult is French, but we blindly follow practices because that's what we're supposed to do. We do agile because we're agile. We're not. So, and it feels like this is another one of those things where somebody probably, a group of people probably thought 2 weeks is enough time. Let's try that out. But then this blindly became accepted across the world as sort of just how we do things. Like, I know one company that used to be a client of mine. They're not technical at all. They're actually like a health club actually, and they use 2 week. So all their work is done in 2 week sprints for like just the company, marketing, everything. But then I noticed that in this particular case, everything is basically like this person took the notion of 2 week sprints and started saying, okay, so you're going to track all your time against all the tasks that you said you would do in this sprint. So like everything's tracked to like the 15-minute mark, and it
Hmm.
drives people insane because these aren't engineers.
Hmm.
In a lot of cases, just working at a health club or a gym or something. But it's interesting because I think the intention's probably good in the sense where we can track our work. It's a neat definable thing, but at the end of the day, it just drives people insane because it's like you can't work like this.
Yeah.
We're not delivering like widgets on an app.
Hmm.
It's so yeah, it's coming up with a marketing campaign for clients like 2 weeks, and like, again, this person's like maniacal about you need to track every minute that you're working.
Hmm.
And that's I think where it gets interesting. So yeah, that can
Yeah.
happen.
And it's funny because for the dog,
Her
what is his name?
name is Lana. She's a golden doodle. So
Okay.
she was outside, but she knows how to open doors, so she can let herself back in. Yeah.
Nice. And it's funny because nobody challenged the agile practice. Like nobody say, like you said, why we use 2 weeks sprint, like we can do in 4 weeks, 1 week. I don't know. So
Yeah.
it's always funny when I embark on project because I'm sometimes asked why we do that, and people say it's because it's that.
It's
We
because we do it. Yeah.
it's because we do it. So yeah, it's funny. It's yeah.
One second. I
Yeah,
want to
no
see
problem.
here. I'm gonna see if. Yeah, I was just asking like, do construction workers work in like 2 week sprints? No, I didn't think so. I used to be a construction worker. I was wondering if like they adopted this, but no.
Yeah. They just do the job. That's it.
That's just it. And the
That's it.
construction workers I know, they're kind of like, oh my god, even the best ones, they're so busy these days. They'll start a project. Like at my house, I always have construction workers over doing something. They'll start a project and they'll leave for a couple weeks. They'll come back. They'll usually get it done. I had to threaten one
Mm,
guy once, like, if you don't get this done within the next week, you're not getting paid at all. And
mm.
like, and every day you're late means less money you're getting paid. And he showed up the next day. He's like, oh, I'll get it done. Um, but yeah, I just wonder like what other industries work in 2 week sprints apart from tech. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good question. Yeah, it's a good question. I
Yeah,
don't know.
like if your dentist worked in 2 week sprints, would that be?
Dentist?
I'm just saying, like thought experiment. If your dentist worked in 2 week sprints, what would that look like?
That could be strange because like sometimes you have patient and like this is
Yeah,
an emergency and so yeah, so
yeah, exactly. But the whole point is it? Are we just shoehorning this in to the wrong thing? And again, data work is different than software engineering to a large
yeah.
extent. AI work is different than software engineering. But I think you were pointing out we put this work into these buckets because
Mm.
you have engineer in your title, so you should act like an engineer. But to your point, you don't want to work in 2 week sprints. Since you don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know.
What do people say when you tell them you don't?
It's like I would say people say that why should we change, I would say. Is this is that. Like what we should change something that we do for many years. Like this is efficient. So
Is it
why?
efficient?
From my point of view, no. But for some people, I would say yes. Mostly because I would say usually people are comfortable to push back some task on, for example, in Jira, you have your task and sometimes you can postpone and it doesn't matter. But that means that you don't follow the real rules of Agile. Okay. So it's kind we use a pattern, but not on the, I would say, good way, I would say.
Yeah, yeah. What are some other things that you've seen that bother you about how we work as data professionals?
Yeah. Uh, I'm mostly about mental health. Like we have a
Mm.
lot of pressure. Like honestly, after COVID, it's crazy. Like we have to deliver, and I would say the technologies move fast. Like on Databricks, AWS, Snowflakes, every month. There are so many new features, and it's not a small features, like it's a huge features that we can have on Snowflake, for example, and we have to learn those new features and then apply these features on the project and to be sure that everything run well in production. We have to test in production in dev. Honestly, after COVID, it's like crazy. I would say as a data professional, we have to be honest. Like we cannot master everything, and we have to be honest that we have to be strong on foundation. So
Hmm.
basic things like SQL, Python, Spark, Git. And with that, with this kind of basic foundation, we can achieve a lot of things without jumping on new feature. Snowflake have a new
Yeah.
feature. I have to test. No, forget that. Just do the job, deliver with SQL, Python. That's it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
How do you manage that tension? Because I think engineers also want to jump to the latest tools, jump to the latest
Yeah.
features. It's fun.
Right. For sure, it's fun, but it's exhausting. It's very exhausting. So me, when I'm not old, okay, but when I was young or younger, I used to like spend time to test new feature, and it was cool. But with the time, I've noticed that technology still the same. I started with SQL Server, with the ETL part, so SSIS and so on. And SSIS, this is the same logic than Airflow. Airflow, this is the same logic than workflow on Databricks. So actually, it's always the same thing. We need to organize the transform flow and so on. Once you learn one tool, you can jump and learn on the product, on the flow. When you going to take your Jira and so on, you test there, you can learn. So it's mostly that I try to be up to date actually. And also, I would say I'm a teacher. I have a company where I teach data engineering. I spend a lot of time with my clients to to learn and to teach how to improve the learning path in terms of data engineering stuff. So it's mostly that, yeah, mostly that.
Super cool.
Yeah.
What's it like teaching other data engineers? Oh, what is it? What's it like teaching other data
Ah,
engineers?
I think, like you said, people like jumping in new or flashy technologies such as I have clients who want to learn data engineering, and this is data engineer, and they want to learn Kafka. Okay, I want to learn Kafka. It's so cool. Can do streaming. But guys, you don't know how to deal with I don't know Python dictionary and so on. So just learn the basic things. Like so, I'm always saying learn basic, and then you can jump on other technology. I think people are very worried, I would say, or be out of out to date.
Yeah.
So I think if you do, to be honest, okay, I don't like no code technology,
You don't like what?
but no code technologies.
Okay. Oh yeah, no code. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if you do no code currently, that can be tough to learn in code. But once you learn in code, that's going to be easier in your career, I would say.
Yeah.
To learn, if you learn Python, you can learn Java. If you learn Java, you can learn Scala, and so on. So this is what I've noticed mostly when I have a new learner, new client in my program.
Do you typically do that like in a group basis, or do
Yeah,
you take on students individually?
I do by group, I would say. So a group of 5 students.
Cool. So you mentioned SQL and Python as being the kind of the core uh,
Yeah.
languages. So let's start with Python. What are the core things somebody needs to know about Python?
Uh, I would say basic data structure, list, dictionary, That how to do a loop, how to if so and so exception with that, and few I would say few libraries are interesting uh, in learning. For example, the library request. If you want to push and pull data, Spark, PySpark, interesting to learn. If you have less data, I would say pandas or polars can be interesting to learn. And mostly that in Python.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Python's it's also interesting because there's multiple ways to do stuff. Like you mentioned loops, but then there's like list comprehensions you could do.
Yeah,
So
I'm a big
if you
fan.
want to get
Actually, I'm a big fan of list compression.
yeah,
It's so
they're fun.
so clean.
They are clean. Some people hate them. I don't know. It's interesting. And then you got like the Lambda functions and then
Mm,
the mapping and filter functions, which you could also do
yeah.
this. So it's a, 'cause I know there were some squabbles in the Python community many years ago about like, well, which one is Pythonic? It's because Python was supposed to be the language where there's one right way to do something, and then there's like
Mm,
several different ways that they actually
mm.
offer you to do things. So it's pretty hilarious. Yeah, list comprehensions are fun. I actually set, I don't know, sometimes I'll just set a goal if I'm writing, just like, let's just see if we can do it in list comprehensions, just because it's a fun thing to do. I don't know. It sometimes isn't as readable. I think if you're, especially if you're not familiar with it, because you're going to look at it like, what the
Yeah, for sure.
just
If
do?
you're not familiar with that, it can be pretty strange because you have like your parentheses and you have your function inside.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You have to kind of read it backwards too, like
yeah, exactly,
right to left.
exactly. If you have a if for exactly,
Yeah, it's super fun.
yeah.
Yeah, I used to have a Python meetup, so it was really fun. We used to do some mentoring with Python, and it's fun language. I don't know, but
Yeah, it's a fun language.
looking at Rust, but I always look at Rust every year, and I'm just like, nah, I don't know. Maybe this is the year.
I did some test with Rust a few months ago. It's fun,
Okay.
it's fun. But actually, on the project, I haven't had the chance to apply
Yeah.
this language. So it's mostly that we can have, especially in data engineering side, we can have fun technology, but no direct usage actually in a day to day.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I remember when Go was still pretty new, and people were trying to figure out how to use that in data engineering, and
Mm,
I don't think Go ever took off as a language for data people.
yeah,
It would have been
I
popular
think,
by
yeah,
now. Yeah, but everyone was
yeah.
trying to do that. Then I think functional was like the craze for a bit, so people were trying to dabble in all kinds of stuff. But Python won out at the end of the day, which was kind of surprising in some ways and not surprising in others. But I don't know. Here we
Mm,
are. But I think everyone's sort of looking at like what's after Python, and we'll
yeah,
see. Rust could be it, but man, by this time next year, there might be something else that comes out that's just like so hot that
yeah.
maybe AI just invents a new language and they're just it's so
Maybe, yeah,
cool.
maybe.
Could actually, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's true.
That'd be interesting. What about SQL? What are the things that you would consider like core to
Yeah,
understanding about SQL?
yeah. I would say select, start
No.
from the basic things like mostly also be able to play with a Windows function. Very
That's
important.
really handy. Yeah.
Very handy. Actually, some new feature you can find new feature on Databricks on Snowflake. Like if you want to, I don't know, play with complex data type, string, array, create
Yeah.
array of struct. So it's pretty handy to do it in SQL. If you want to expose data, yeah. Well, say SQL it's a pretty basic and easy language to learn. It's for me it's like a Mario Kart. So for sure I know for sure. Do you know Mario Kart?
No what?
Do you know Mario Kart? It's a video game.
Mario Kart.
Mario Kart.
Yes. I used to play it a lot. Yep.
Yeah. So SQL is like Mario Kart. It's easy to learn, hard to master.
Hmm. That's a good way of putting it.
So
That's
so
true.
yeah. So it depends on the context. Like you can have a very complex data, and then in this case, that's going to be painful to do SQL. But it's
Hmm.
you can do SQL. And if once you have your clean data table, that's going to be easy to do your classic SQL statement and so on.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's fun. I think knowing both and then knowing, when to drop into using data frames and
Mm,
sort of the sort of middle ground between that,
yes,
that's fun too. But
yeah,
just
it's
right
true.
tool for right job. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's interesting. And tell me about your YouTube channel. I'm looking at it right now. Data from
yeah,
scratch. Willis,
data from
what's going
scratch.
on here?
Yeah, actually, I'm a big fan of data engineering. Actually, so I like to share my knowledge. And actually, I'm an extravert. Okay, so I like to just talk, and that's why I started few years ago, 3 years now. Started my YouTube channel because I just like to share my knowledge in the francophone side. Was and I'm still the only one who do this kind of data, mostly data engineering channel. So it's mostly that, and I try to release a video every 2 weeks.
That's
So
cool.
I'm a bit late currently, to be honest. My last video was almost 1 month ago, but I have so many works, so I have to postpone some video. But yeah, it's mostly because I like to share my what I know, and I like to just talk with people about data. So and mostly data engineering.
And this one is the uh, Designer avec Gutenberg, Liberty. Wait, hold on. This is not you. This was so the secrets of uh, Lucia on data. I think getting a job at Facebook or Meta, interviewing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. It was with Valenta Marek, a guy who work at uh, at Facebook.
nice. Do you find that the that type of content does really well, where it's kind of career advice focused? What are you finding with that style of content?
Good question. I think I started my, I would say, YouTube channel because in French, I didn't find this kind of content for a French audience. So I'm creating just this kind of content because I know that a lot of people was and are in the same situation that I was before, which is, okay, I'm lost. I don't fully understand data engineering. I would like to be more efficient or more confident.
Yeah,
Just, yeah. So it's mostly that.
that's super cool. Yeah, I've been thinking about getting into YouTube this year. I actually will. What advice would you have for a guy like me who's got a
I
pretty
don't know
mediocre
that.
YouTube channel?
No, no.
Well, we're making content
Honestly,
soon.
honestly, I think honestly, it's difficult to give you an advice. But since a few months ago, I found out a guy uh, like a god like you who create a YouTube channel. I'm going to send you like the name. Don't remember the name of the guy. But he worked at Amazon. He have maybe 40, 30 years of experience in tech, and he share knowledge about how to create a SaaS, so a software as a service and so on.
It's
And
cool.
I think create a YouTube channel about tech in order to give advices, it's always a good deal. It's always a good thing. So I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, I would say.
I'll try it out. Shoot me that
But
link. That'd be interesting.
I'm trying to find you the guy. Yeah, this is Internet of Bug. I don't know if you know Internet of Bug. This guy is like
I don't
too
think so.
funny. I'm going to.
Okay.
I don't
Oh,
know if you.
cool.
I don't know. Yeah, on the chat, I'm going to
Yeah.
send you
Well,
that.
thanks. I'll post this for the audience here. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know. It's fun to talk to other content creators because it's like I think everyone's kind of got their own
Yeah,
style and way to go about stuff. This is cool. I'll subscribe to him. It's cool.
the guy is very funny. He give a lot of
Internet
good.
of Bugs, I think. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think that it's kind of a fun time to be creating content.
Hmm.
I would definitely want to go more into video this year. What got you into doing video?
Sorry, I didn't get what you
Sorry,
said.
how did you get into doing video on YouTube?
Because for many years, like 10 years, I watch YouTube every day. Like this is my main TV. So
Mm,
for me, this is the normal next step to create content on YouTube. So it's mostly that. So yeah, it's mostly that.
That's cool.
Nothing fancy. Yeah, just mostly that.
What were your first videos like compared to where you
Shit.
are now?
Like my first video, it's a mess. I was too shy.
I mean,
I'm
look at
still a
this.
bit shy, but like it's I don't know. I don't remember that.
We see data engineer un métier d'avenir, I think is this one here. Interesting. Yeah, it's an evolution, right? I look at some of my friends' early YouTube videos, and I mean, I look at even mine. I still look at mine; they're pretty bad. Carly Taylor was giving me crap the other day that my thumbnail game is terrible. So
Yeah, it's tough.
it's tough.
Tough
Yeah,
to have a very flashy, nice, sexy thumbnails. I like it's a game. It's
yeah,
almost a game.
it is a game.
Yeah.
It is a game. That's fun. Well, what's next for you? What are you excited about this year?
This year, I would say mostly creating content. Mostly that. Actually, I have a baby.
Well,
So
congrats. Yeah.
it's yeah, thank you. It's mostly spending time with my family, with my daughter, with my wife. Yeah, it's like that for 2025.
That's awesome,
So
man.
yeah. And you?
Get this book done. YouTube. That's a big one this year. I think it's getting more into video for sure.
Mm,
Just got to get this book out of the way first because I think it's hard to have these two competing things because with a book your mind's just in it all the time. You can't focus on anything else. You just just need to get it done. Traveling too. I mean,
cool.
I just got a message to go to Paris again at some point.
Yeah.
So I think it's only a month out. So I'm like, I guess I could do that. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, from where I live, it's a direct flight from Salt Lake City to Paris. It's an easy flight. Yeah,
Cool.
super easy.
Nice.
Just get on the plane, wake up at Charles de Gaulle, been there a million times, go through that airport, which it's a bit of a mess, but
always a mess when you.
yeah, I'm like, you guys, I'm like, you had the Olympics. I would hope you would make it easier, but nah, it's fine. Just make it really complicated. Yeah, how about you? How often do you get back to Paris?
Yeah. Normally, I would say I'm go to Paris every 6 months.
This one's okay.
Yeah, maybe in July, maybe in November.
Okay.
Family and friends in Paris.
Yeah,
But it's kind of tough when you have a baby. Like you have to set, you have to be prepared, you have to deal with your luggages and so on. So
traveling with kids is a different level.
It's a difficult game. Like you have so many stuff with you.
How old is your kid?
15 months old.
Okay, yeah, that's I mean, it's a good age because I think in America at least they can still fly for free. So it's like you want to try and take long flights.
It's true. Yes, also in Canada.
I think up to two. Yeah, up to two.
It's true.
24.
Yeah, until 2. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but that's just it's hard to. I mean, I used to travel with my kids a lot, flying and.
Yeah, no, it's tough. And even the day-to-day in Montreal, because this is winter, we have a lot of snow.
Yeah.
Man, it's too tough. Like you have too many things to deal. So
it is what it is.
Yeah, this is what it is exactly.
It's awesome to talk with you again.
Yeah,
we'll
thank you for your time.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, in Paris.
Yeah, see you back in Paris or Montreal. Who knows?
Montreal with pleasure.
Yeah.
See you.
Awesome, man. All right. Take care.
See you. Bye.